Scarlett, thank you so much. That was absolutely brilliant. And we're carrying on with our really exciting morning. I hope you all are also feeling the buzz and the good energy. And I'm very pleased to announce that we have the Deputy Mayor of London, Mette Cohen, with us this morning. And he will share a little bit more about what London is doing for kids as well as active travel. So everything we've already talked about. And today's launch of Curious Cities also coincides with a new report from Mette and his team, which shows how the ultra-low emission zone has led to a 40% reduction in air pollution-related deaths in 2024 as compared with 2019. So lots to celebrate. Welcome, Mette.
You've just done my speech. Look, can I firstly start by saying welcome to the biggest ever London Climate Action Week. Oh, thank you. Do we have anyone from New York? No. Okay, so I can say this. The New York Knicks may have won the NBA championships, but London is now crowned the champion of Climate Weeks with the most ever event. So, look, really proud. Firstly, can I also start by taking the opportunity to thank Ollie, Barbara, the whole team at Clean Air Cities and Clean Cities, with the work you're doing to really continue to challenge us to do more. Not only everything that we're doing around improving air quality in London, how we reimagine our streets, how we encourage more active travel, how we think about the role of businesses and vans, the SUVs. There's so much there that you're doing. So let's give and raise the roof in the room for the whole team, please. My name is Mette Cohen, and I'm the Deputy Mayor of the greatest city in the world. Look, I have such a huge honor and privilege of leading our city's mission on one of the biggest challenges that we face across our society. And you only have to look at the heat wave this week to understand how serious and important the impacts of climate change are. The reality is, climate change doesn't impact everyone equally. That is a fact. It doesn't impact everyone equally. And you only have to look about the conversation that we had today about pollution. There are thousands of young black and brown kids across our city who will never ever be able to breathe the full capacity of their lungs because of a crisis that they didn't cause in the first place. Through no fault of their own, they are not able to breathe the full capacity of their lungs because we're dependent on fossil fuels. And those fossil fuels that release those toxins in the air not only are stunting the lungs of our children, but also is making life difficult during a cost of living crisis because we're dependent on oil and gas. And every time something happens around the world, it's working class Londoners who are paying the price for the volatile energy markets that we see here in London. That is why this is a social and racial justice issue. Look, this week alone, on Monday, I kid you not, in real time, I was at the Conduit at a climate and health summit, and in real time, as I was literally about to go to give the opening remarks, the heat alert got upgraded to a red alert. That is only the second time in our city's history it got upgraded to a red alert. In 2022 and in 2026. On Monday night, going into Tuesday, I got a briefing from City Hall in the morning that said the London Fire Brigade had received 400 calls overnight related to flash floods. 400 calls. The climate change impacts is no longer a distant threat. It is literally happening right here and right now. And I can see my amazing, incredible Hackney colleagues, former Mayor of Hackney, Caroline Woodley, Sarah Young. We know, right? When I used to be in Hackney, when we were in Hackney, the impact of the flash floods on the basement properties, when Caroline was standing on the edge, on the corner of Cazenove Road with residents who literally didn't know what to do in that stage, right? And behind those properties that are being damaged and the financial loss, it's not just about the properties being damaged or the loss that you're going to have to incur financially. Those are decades of literally memories for decades that have been erased from families and from households. These are literally hitting people's every single day lives. But the good news is progress is happening, And progress is happening. Cities like London are showing the way on how we can make progress. You know, I'm always reminded by this quote which says, "It always seems impossible until it's done." Do you know who that's by? Nelson Mandela. It always seems impossible until it's done. It was seemed impossible to have imagined that when the mayor of London first got elected in 2016 and the scientists told him it will take 193 years for us to reach the legal air quality limits. Something that would have been impossible to have imagined in our lifetime. But guess what? We achieved it in just 9 years. And I remember going into City Hall, in my first month in City Hall, I had a 1 year on ULEZ report, the impacts of ULEZ. And there was all these incredible things in there about, you know, roadside nitrogen dioxide levels down by 54% in central London, over 50% in inner London, over 24% in outer London. Sounds great. But what does that mean to every single day Londoners? And so that's why today I'm proud to announce that pollution-related deaths in London are down by 40% since 2019 to 2024. And that happened, let's not forget this, and the mayor always makes this point. It's important that we keep doubling down on reminding how difficult it was to take those decisions. How difficult it was. I can see Rosina here, who used to be a councillor in Lambeth, the decisions that you've had to take in Lambeth and how much backlash that you've personally faced when those disgraceful articles were written about you because you literally wanted to reimagine the future of your streets, to make sure that children could breathe cleaner air, to make sure that you could restore dignity into communities by investing in green spaces. That is the cost of these things. That is the challenge that we have to face when we are leading on these actions. So I think it's really important that we do continue to really label the point about the impact that we're having. And actually, just 2 weeks ago, it builds on further news, which also showed that hospital admissions are down related to respiratory health because of ULEZ. So we're seeing a huge transformation in that agenda. And for me, this, when we think about the future of our streets, when we think about active travel, when we think about air quality, this is about restoring dignity to our communities. It's about who is our city for? Who is our city for? It's about restoring dignity to our communities. It's about thinking about how we democratize our public spaces for people. It's about thinking about on heat waves like today, that Londoners who've done the least to cause it aren't impacted. So we need more street trees. We need more resilience around sustainable urban drainage systems across our city. We need to reimagine. We need to be ambitious for our city. And there is good progress happening here in London. We planted more than 640,000 trees since 2016. The equivalent of 2,000 football pitches of green spaces that we've installed here in London since 2016. We're investing heavily in nature-based solutions, and that's really important because actually nature is the best solution for all of the challenges that we're facing today. We brought back beavers to London after 400 years of not existing. And the first beaver's name was Justin Bieber. And jokes aside about their name, we've also got Sigourney Beaver too. Sigourney and Justin actually fell out. Sigourney bit Justin, so we had to send one to Enfield and one to Ealing. But jokes aside, if you Google beavers and you put Ealing, Greenford Station, what you will see is that Greenford Station used to get regularly flooded. Ever since we brought the beaver colony to West London in Paradise Field Park, guess what? No more floods. No more floods. How incredible is it? That is the benefit of investing in nature-based solutions, but also is important in terms of cleaning our waterways and dealing with surface water pollution too. We're bringing back white stalks to London after 600 years of not existing. And we're also reimagining the look and feel of our city. And a big part of that is down to the borough partnerships that we have, whether it's in Lambeth. Kira's our new cabinet member here in Lambeth, and the work that you're doing. Lots of other boroughs, I can see lots of friendly faces. I can see lots of Hackney people. How many Hackney people do we have? This is a good audience selection. And actually, you know, if I think about what we achieved in Hackney, yeah, like this morning I was talking at the Future Streets Forum, and I was thinking about Church Street, where I'm from in Hackney, in Stoke-Newington, where I used to be a councillor. And in Hackney, when we introduced the low traffic neighbourhood in Church Street, there was so much opposition to it. I'll never forget. And we've done it in 2021. I remember a year on from actually delivering that scheme, we saw footfall had gone up by over 20%. Number of cyclists on Church Street went up by over 30%. Number of cars obviously went down, as you'd expect, because we semi-pedestrianised the street. But also the traffic evaporation on the surrounding streets went down by about 27%. Visa MasterCard transactions went up by 200%. Better for business. When I was a councillor in that area, those retail units, at any moment, between 2015 to about 2021, I kid you not, the retail units, probably more than 50% of them changed. It was a dying street. It was left behind. But by reimagining that street, we were able to bring back alive a street that was thriving in Hackney. And so for me, when we talk about this agenda, it's really about thinking about, firstly, who pays the price for the lack of action that we've taken over decades, and who benefits from the transition. Because sometimes it's really easy to get caught up in all of these targets. You know, I get people asking me all the time, you're going to reach net zero by 2030. Or what are you going to do if you don't reach net zero by 2030? I'm like, forget the targets, man. Like, you're just so obsessed with these like targets, these numbers, these theoretical arguments about climate. Put that aside for a second. Obviously, it's important, otherwise none of us will be sitting here having this conversation. But put that aside for a second. Why wouldn't you want to live in a city where you got better air quality? Why wouldn't you want to live in a city where you got more access to green space? Why wouldn't you want to live in a city where you got more security around your energy bills? These are all things that we should aspire to. Why wouldn't you want to live in a city if you think about, you know, our water system? We've spent decades ago, we privatized our water systems, where you've seen companies like Thames Water take Londoners for a ride and have illegally been dumping in our rivers. Where's the democratization of our water systems? Where's the democratization of our energy systems? Where's the democratization of our public spaces? We've got to be unapologetically ambitious for the future of our city. And so, the big thing that I'm hoping that comes out of this assembly today, but also the work that we're doing more broadly with London Climate Action Week, is that vision. It's that vision that can fill us with hope about what we can achieve for our city. Cities are making a difference in real time. We are cutting emissions 5 times faster than the national average. Because we're just getting on and doing it in a way that national politics can't deliver. And that's why we need more devolution for local and regional governments. We need to empower local communities to think about how do we reimagine our systems. I always talk about the role of community energy. Community energy is really important because not only delivering clean, green energy is important, but it's about how do we democratize our energy system to actually work for people? How do we use the profits that are made from our energy system, reinvest back into communities? And it's making a huge difference. Because those public assets, whether it's our schools, our cultural venues, our libraries, these are fundamentally like a second home for most people in most boroughs across our city. And if we could save, by the way, which we're doing in London, £18,000 a year on average per school, per year, on their energy bills that they can reinvest back into education for a school trip, towards a tuition assistant, whatever it may be. By the way, it's good for our environment. Or the work that we're doing with our hospitals here in London. We're working with 7 hospitals where we're saving them hundreds of thousands of pounds on their energy bills, which they can reinvest back into patient care. By the way, it's good for our environment. you see what I'm saying? It's thinking about all of the co-benefits, the cost of living benefits, the health benefits, the mental well-being benefits, all of these things that come with reimagining our city to work for people. But look, finally, I just want to say there are so many important people to recognize in this room. We've got Catherine as well from Hounslow as well with us here today. Also spoke Kira of, I'm in the danger now of trying to name every single person. I just want to say a massive thank you on behalf of the Mayor of London. And I want to end on a story of a young girl story who we all know about. And I think it's really important that we keep telling this story because we must never let her tragic loss go in vain. And that is a story of Ella Roberta, a young black girl at the age of 9 who tragically lost her life because of pollution. The first person in the world who had pollution cited on her death certificate. Ella wasn't born with stunted lungs. I've seen videos, her mum has shown me videos of her as a toddler where she was perfectly fit and healthy. Her health deteriorated over the years, which shows all of us that it was preventable. It was preventable. And so behind all of these numbers and these theories and these strategies that we talk about, don't ever forget the story of Ella. It's about people. It's about reimagining our city to work for Londoners. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great conference.